Hi, it's Lori from Coast to Coast Craft Girls coming to you from the West Coast. Today I'm going to show you how to make this nice little pop-up hexagon card. It sits up like this. It's got a little envelope in there in the center you can use for money, to gift money, a check or gift card or whatever you want. I'll explain how you can make this hexagon shape in the back any shape you want. It folds flat to mail. It's about 6 by 6.5. You can make it bigger if you wanted to, but that's the size I made it. And then it pops up to look like that. All right, let's get started. All right, well, let's see. I'll show you how I made it. I actually started with a template. So I used my hexagon nesting dies, and I took one that was 2 inches across this piece here, from 2 inches from there to there, because that's how big I wanted the box. And I used graph paper just because it's easier to line up. And you essentially want to kind of trace around your nesting die. And then what you're going to do is you're going to put 3 2-inch squares just below it. So one right here. So you get your ruler out and draw from here down 2 inches from this side, down 2 inches, and then draw across and add a second 2-inch box on each side. So like that. Connect those up. And then you need a glue tab on one side. So I added just kind of a little bit of a 1/2 inch tab, with the little cut corners. And then on one of them, you want to repeat this on this side. So you want to take your nesting die, put it back in there, and trace around it again on this side. And there's your pattern. Now you're going to cut one of these, and then you're going to cut the second one without that piece, just with this part. Okay? And I just do it on graph paper or something like that because it's easier to make a pattern it's easier for me to make the pattern with my ruler on the graph paper because the lines help you figure it out. Now, you could actually do this with any shape on the top if you want. If you just cut 2 pieces like that, and I'll show you when I get there, but you'd have basically the box with the bottom that folds up, and then you could glue any shape you wanted onto the back. So you could do a heart or a circle or a rectangle or just, a piece of acetate with flowers if you wanted to. But anyway, so you cut that out, trace around it, make a pattern. Like I said, cut one with just the one hexagon and the squares, and the other with the 2 hexagons and the squares. And when you're done cutting that out, you get these 2. And I've already scored, but I'll show you where you're going to score. So here's the one with the 2 hexagons. Now you're going to score right down the middle of one. Leave the other one this one completely blank, but score down the middle of one, and then you're going to score down where the squares connect and across here, but just on, again, just on this one. This is going to be the back piece that sticks up, so you don't want to score that one. And then the same on this one. You're going to score end to end on the hexagon. And where the hexagon connects to the squares. And then at each of the squares, and the little gluing flap. And then I haven't cut my little ends off yet. You don't have to do this, but it just makes it a little bit easier and nicer to do. Now, it's actually very simple from here to do. You're just going to fold and burnish all your lines. Now, as you put this together, this is your bottom piece. So you're going to want to put it, make sure you get one gluing tab on one side, one gluing tab on the other, and then you're going to glue these two pieces together. So hopefully you can see that. So I'll stand that on. So you're going to glue these two half of the hexagons together right there. But again, make sure you have one glue tab here and one glue tab here, because if you did it, if you scored it and burnished it the wrong way, it would be like this, and you'd have two glue tabs on the same side, and that doesn't work. So you have to make sure you have a glue tab here and a glue tab here, because these are going to come together. So let's go ahead and glue that together. And you can use whatever adhesive you like. I like tacky glue because it's strong and it gives me just a, it's not a complete instant grab, but just get that nice and glued together. Press down. And once you have that together, then you're going to put glue on your glue tabs. On both of those. And then you're going to fold this together and just fold it flat and glue those down. Just, and they should line up. I mean, you may have to kind of push it a little bit to get it to line up, just to make sure. But just line those up and it should go completely flat. And that's it. I mean, that's the whole card. And then it's just decorating, and you can decorate it however you want. Now, the benefit of having traced around your nesting dies is this is now a perfect fit for that. So if you wanted a different color on there, you just cut one of those. Or if you want a nice matte layer, you cut the next size down and you've got it. So it's perfect. And then this can fold that way, but it also, if you want it to be smaller, it can fold up inside, and then it's smaller, and it fits in a nice little 6 by, what was it? About a 6 by 6 envelope, or 6 by 6 1/4, something like that. Now again, if you wanted to, see if you only made it with just the bottom part and you only had the two pieces like I was describing with just the one hexagon and the squares, you didn't have this piece, if you think you could take that, if that wasn't there, you could put any shape you want in there. You could glue flowers onto it. You could make it a nice rectangle. You could put a really pretty heart or whatever you wanted on there. But I'm going to go ahead and cut some mats and layers and decorate the set. Now remember, these are two by two squares. So if you want an exact 2 by 2, you can do that, or I'm going to come just under 2 by 2. And I'm going to use my hexagon nesting die to cut that back mat layer. I'm going to mat mine in this nice stripes. Now remember, if you have a pattern to your mat layer, you have to pay attention, because you don't want your hexagon to go, kind of cattywampus. You got to think about if you want the stripes to go the same direction. Make sure you get your nesting die put in there, and make sure you cut your strips so that the stripes are all going the same way. So let me cut my strips from my 2-inch squares. Oops. I bent my paper, so I'm going to cut from this side. And remember, they're 2 by 2 squares, so I'm just going to cut mine a little bit shy of 2. I don't want a full 1/4 inch. Just cut a little bit off. Now you can make it bigger if you wanted, with make bigger squares to make the it taller. So if you wanted to make it taller, you could make, them not squares. You could make it taller that way, or whatever. But whatever you have here, it has to match the side of that hexagon. So if you want to make it bigger across this way, then you got to have a bigger hexagon. I use this as for a way to gift money, or a gift card or something. And you can do that by putting a little envelope right there in the center. And I used an envelope die from Crafter's Companion, Sour Signature Letters from the Heart. I'm going to make a little envelope. All right. Now to make this envelope, very simple. It already has all the score lines in, so all you have to do is fold it over and glue it together. Such a pretty envelope die. I'm just going to put some glue on these edges. And I want to glue it together, but I don't want to push it completely flat because, as I said, I'm going to put money in there or something, so I don't want it too tight. So you want to kind of fold it over and push it flat, but not, you want enough room that you can slide something in there. So do that. Now, because it's not double-sided paper, I'm actually going to cut a second one of these to line it, but I only care about this, the top part. I don't care about these sides. So just cut that part off. And I'm just going to cut it again. Now to get this to slide in there, I need it to be just a little bit narrower and smaller so that it'll slide inside. So I'm going to just trim just kind of inside of those score lines. And trim the bottom off as well. And before you put any glue on it, make sure that it actually fits. But it should just slide right in. And then you just line it up like that. Yep, perfect. And you can use a contrasting color if you want. I just decided to go with the same because I like the yellow. But because I didn't push that completely flat, I have plenty of room to slide this in. And wet glue will give you time to get it lined up before you push it down and get it stuck. And right, like that. Now, you can put that right on there, either straight or at an angle, and either up here or down below. You just want to think about if you want it to fit in that 6x6 envelope, I would push it down a little bit further so that it's below the top of there. But I kind of like it at an angle, but I want it to fit in that envelope. So I'm going to put it like that. So let me put a little glue on there. And see what I did? If you push it too low or too much of an angle, you got to keep that bottom corner above the score line. I'm going to use a different wet glue so I can get it off of there easier. This is a different tacky glue. It stays wet a little bit longer. There we go. So see if you can see down, it's just above that score line. So that means it'll stand up. So when it's stood up flat, it looks like that, but it will fold flat as well. And then I'm just going to put a sentiment on the back. And there we go. That's all there is to it. It's actually pretty simple. It's easier than you think it would be. And we're all done. So again, folds flat for mailing and pops up into this little, almost like a gift box, like that. Hope you enjoyed that.